We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for buying a business owners, virtual coffee connection, and probably a whole bunch of other things. This one's going to be a little bit of a wild ride, I have a feeling. Um, so, Luke, what would you like to accomplish today?
So there's a couple things. So one is there's not too often that I go out on the job site and work. I like to as much as I can, but when I'm out there, I tend to get sometimes I get a lot of calls, and I most of the time I answer my calls. And it's like I'm on my phone a lot, and it hurts. One, it hurts productivity. Two, also like I don't want to communicate to the guys that it's okay to be on your phone.
Right, big time.
So I don't know. Well, I guess is it even like for me? I guess I gotta ask myself the question: is it okay that I'm on the phone, or shouldn't I be on the phone?
Right, right. Yep, good. All right, let's say you come up with the answer. Maybe it's okay. Then what's the next thing you do?
I don't know.
So if you
Maybe
come up,
just
go ahead.
maybe communicate that with the guys. Like, hey, I know I'm on the phone a lot, but just because I am doesn't mean you can't. Which that may not go down so well.
So what might be another approach?
Give them the phone. I don't know.
Well,
No,
is that
I don't know.
right? Yeah. I don't know is a better answer than give them the phone. I don't know that that would help. Are all these phone calls business related?
Yes, almost 100%.
Okay. So what you'd do is you'd ask them, you'd present them with the situation, and say, hey, here's the situation. What do you guys think is the best solution? So you're making sales calls, business calls, you're doing business. So that keeps them, busy. So
Hmm.
they'll support that. So if you have strong communication and give them more power or influence in that, and get their feedback, because you're not just impacting you, you're impacting them too. And so if you decide that you might decide that it's not a good thing, and if you do, you probably don't talk to them about it. Maybe you do just to learn a lesson or get, some experience from it or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover?
Not. No.
Okay.
Oh. Um. So there's someone that asked me there. It's a rehab center that's a construction company. I don't even. He got my number through someone that we did work for one time, and they're building a building for a rehab center, and they're donating. Everybody's donating time. Almost all the builders, the plumbers. And he asked me if, hey, do we want to donate a day? How do you determine, like, is it smart for us to donate a day, or is it not? Or I mean,
Well, if you have a plan and you look at your plan and you go through that, you know, are your guys going to be donating their time?
no, the company would donate the guy's time.
So, so you'd look at all your numbers and see, are you hitting your goals? Are you hitting your goals and your percentages? Both of those are pretty important to reach.
Right.
Does that help or not?
Yes and no.
Wants to know.
So if you set so high goals that maybe I'm just a crook and already gave up on our goal before we started on it. But if you set so high goals where you're not going for the goal, you're just going to be max. Like you just want to go for your max. Where does that make sense? Or
Well, Yeah, I mean, so you don't think that the goal was possible. You don't think if you worked harder or smarter, you don't think there's any way you could have hit the goal. Just an impossible goal.
No, obviously nothing's impossible, but I
But
mean, it would have been. I don't know what it would have taken or what it would take. I guess.
so you might want to go ahead and gain some clarity on that first.
Hmm.
You know, and so if you look at your sales closing ratio, what do you know what your sales closing ratio is?
I think my personal one is at like 46%.
Okay, and what's the company's overall?
I think Kenny's about 56, so that'd be put it like right around 51, 52.
Right. So if you could get it up to 75, that would increase your sales by 50%. If you went ahead and were more effective in getting referrals, that could put it up 100%. And so,
Mhm.
most people don't they don't want to feel bad. They want to feel good. That's why they often donate their time to other people. And so the ones that are, yeah. So,
So I guess like in my understanding, there's not something wrong to donate your time to feel good about. I mean, obviously you should. I mean, it's good to feel good about, but like, what is the other perspective? Like, what is the other side of the coin? I guess.
well, wouldn't wouldn't it be better? Like, wouldn't it be better? Like, what's better than, getting 33% dopamine hit?
100%. I don't know.
Right, right. Do you know how to do that?
I guess hit your goals and donate time.
Well, I wasn't thinking hitting your goals. You don't, to get 100%, like how much is that going to cost? Like, like how much is that going to cost the company? Not just in hard costs, but in soft costs. Like if you were billable for a whole day, if your crew is billable for a whole day, how much do you guys look to bring in a day?
That would be at 1200.
1,200 for a whole day,
Yes.
and that's not only your cost but everything else.
That would be what we would bill out in a typical day.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, then it's easy. You just go ahead and you just take, 10% of your profit and just put it in. And that's $2,000. And you just go ahead and fund it yourself and pay what you would the regular. And the company gets 1,200 or 2,000. You get 100% of the feeling.
Gotcha. Copy that. Why is that funny?
I don't know. Why are you laughing?
I'm just happy. I don't know.
Right. Right. Mark's just the guy's a genius. I mean, he's a genius. He just figured out how to triple my dopamine hit. And my guess is you're gonna follow through on that, right?
No,
Really? Like, why not?
because the company makes way more money than I do personally, or it seems like it. I should put that in front of it.
That's just weird. I think that's just weird. It's just weird. Like,
Why is that weird?
are you taught to tithe 10%?
Yes,
And so why wouldn't you tithe 10%? I mean, it's not even 10%. It's like, 6%. Why wouldn't you do that?
I guess I could.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So why don't we tithe 10% of all the company profits?
Well, because I'm tithing a lot more than that, and you wouldn't be able to keep up to me even when I was your age. And so why don't you give where you have a heart to give and have the others give where they have a heart to give? Why would you go ahead and like why would why wouldn't we go ahead and give that that $1,200 to Life Masters Institute? Or why wouldn't we give it to something that Kenny wants to do or I want to do? Why wouldn't you give where you give, where you want to give? I mean, if you have a heart for it, why wouldn't you do it?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Right? Like, I mean, it's like you got the money. So it's just weird. It's like, I mean, we would never give any money if we said, well, look at Bill Gates. He's got billions of dollars. Why should we give any money? He should give his money. It's almost like socialism.
Yeah, so that's interesting that we come on this subject. Um, so the Thomas Blackwell event, the event thing that we went to this summer about a month ago or 2 months ago.
Okay.
So he signed us up on a weekly email, and just this week it was about the more I study and practice what wealthy people say and do, the wealthier I get. A common belief and practice among successful people is to donate at least 10% of their earnings to the church, a charity, or some other cause. This is not a new concept. It's been practiced since early biblical times and is known as the law of tithing. I often hear people say weak-minded and self-fulfilling words such as "we don't have any money" or "we never have enough money." My first inclination to respond with, "Well, how much do you give?" They then usually retort with the comments like these: "When I get some to give, I will," or "when I make it big, I'm going to give." When your language changes to "I live in an abundant world and there is plenty to give," you're aligning yourself with a higher power that created all that we have. I have heard it said that wealthy is simply having enough to share. Whether you say it's easy to give or you say it's hard to survive, if you give, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, and what's cool about that is you just say it. You don't actually have to give it. You just say it. You get the dopamine hit. Just talk.
Uh-huh.
Just talk. Like you don't have to do anything. So I don't know. Somehow my parents, I don't know. I mean, probably I might have a gift of giving. And so I always tithe, always. I mean, always as a boy. I mean, gave hundreds, thousands of dollars to the church. And, I wouldn't spend an extra 30 cents to get a Big Mac versus a fish sandwich. And so I think tithing does go ahead. And the Bible teaches not only tithing, but offerings too. And so, um, and so after we were married for 10 years, so that would have been 30 years old, we said, well, why don't we go ahead and for every year we're married, why don't we give rather than 10% like we've been doing? Why don't we give 11% for 11 years and 12%? I think we got up to 17, 18%. Do you have any idea how hard it is when you have 7 kids and you're 35, 36, 37 to give 16, 17% of what you bring in?
Probably not.
So my dad went ahead and his brother was saying, should I tithe off of my gross or my net? And my dad said, well, what do you want God to bless you on, your tithe, your gross, or your net? But again, there's another whole world in here about how I've seen churches. And so the church that we attend now, they tried to raise, I don't know, 9 million. They did it in an instant. Then it became, I don't know, 13 million. And then it was 16 million. And they had in their little brochure, that was all for color and nicely put together, suggestions for doing it. And they suggested that retired people go out and get a part-time job and give 100% of that to the church. And so the church over the years has accumulated massive, massive wealth. So again, And so if you're not willing, like, so a tithe 10%, like my parents, my parents were fond of saying, and the Baptists are fond of saying, God will help you go ahead, and God will take your 90% and stretch it longer than the 100%. And so I'm not disagreeing with that, but I have seen churches and pastors twist that and turn that in some crazy, crazy ways. And so I don't look at it as black and white as I did when I was, 30 years old or 40 years old. Things have shifted. Like they go ahead and, the Bible, I was just actually talking to a widow, and her husband died a few years ago. And so she's Kenny's teacher. And that was one of the things I was curious about. So she's Amish. And and so the Bible says true religion is caring for the widows and the orphans. And um so like I don't know if Life Masteries is, I mean, they're going to check into it and look at it, but I know what's probably going to happen. Like everybody's going to be like, Life Masteries or whoever is involved, they're trying to take advantage of her. And it's like, really? And it's just like with customers or family or friends. Like the ones that you help the most are the least grateful and the least thankful. So let's say that I'm the one that's going to help her the most. I'm probably going to get raked over the coals by a whole bunch of people for helping her. And so why would I do that? Elaine says, because you just like pain, Mark. And I'm not saying she's wrong, but Bible says, care for the widows and orphans. So here's potentially a way that, I could care, do that. Not talk care, but actually do care. But I know that there's going to be probably a price to pay, and all the goofballs in the world are gonna it's just weird. People are just absolutely weird. Um, there's a business opportunity to buy a business that, let's say, somebody I know, and uh, and there's potentially family involved. And a couple of the family members, they haven't talked in over a year, and and it's like what causes most people brain to take the easy route in life, and what causes other people to seemingly always take the hardest route. Like, why do some people do that?
You're asking me.
I don't know. You, Nora. I mean, I was talking to an Amish guy, and he says, I keep starting businesses. I keep doing starting businesses. I don't even know why I do it. I don't really do it. I don't do it for the money. Don't have the need. And I'm like, right? So yeah, like why do some people seem to always seek to take the easy route in life, and other people seem to take the hard route in life? Like, why is that?
Not,
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say not sure. I did hear this thing this morning on what would be like somebody got asked what would be like your version of hell or like what and then I think it was a lady. She was like, if she got to heaven and God sat her down and showed her what his plan was for her life, and then also showed her what her plan was or what she did, and then the difference between the two.
See, it's fascinating you say that. Jason Eckert, he was a small group leader. He owned a very large company, $130+ million company. And he said gnashing of teeth, like, hell is gnashing of teeth. And he said his belief of gnashing of teeth is regret, which kind of fits in to what you were saying, like you have regret. And so it hit me today where I thought, I wonder if the people who think they're the happiest are actually the least happy, and the people you think are the most unhappy are the happiest.
That would seem odd, but I think I could see that.
And so it's almost like the people who think they're the happiest potentially live in a state of dopamine, hits. And so they think they're happy, but, are they just chasing one dopamine hit after another, after another, after another? So as a boy, I heard a pastor in a sermon, and he went ahead and said there was this clown, and well, this guy went ahead and went to a therapist in the town, and he said, "I'm very sad." And the therapist went ahead and said, "My therapy to you is go to the circus and see this clown, because this clown is the funniest clown. Like, you will laugh and you will laugh and laugh and laugh. I mean, that's my therapy for you, to go and see this clown." And the gentleman looked down and he said, "Sir, I am that clown." And so I postulated the idea to Elaine in previous call, and she said, "I can see that often the people who act the happiest are the least happy." Like, I wonder if we're not doing things, seeking to do things that are significant, if we're chasing after, pleasures of this world and enjoyment in ourselves. Are we truly happy because we're just doing it for ourselves? Like, does true happiness come from serving other people? And when you're seeking to do something significant, you're really pursuing it, potentially at your own cost and everything else. Even when it doesn't work out, even when people go ahead and misjudge and your motives, and they do all of these things. So in my younger self, I used to say, I'd volunteer time for churches and nonprofit organizations, and I'd give all kinds of resources and time to them. And I had a rule. I said, if anyone ever accuses me of having ulterior motives, or doing that, like they question my motives, I will stop helping that organization. And I'm like, well, that's not a very confident position. And maybe it was okay at that season of life. And so I think it really ticks people off. I think it really ticks people off who are happy, successful, they have money, they have everything that man, woman could want. And they act like they're happy. You ask them, how's things going? And it's like, living the dream. And they see you and you're toiling and it's hard. Your life is hard, and it looks like from the outside it sucks, but you're fine. You're like, God's He's given me this journey. It is a really rough journey, but I'm good. And I wonder if the people that they're living the dream, if they're jealous and they're envious and they're like, how can you have so much peace? How can you be happy with such a miserable life? And it's like, how can you be so unhappy with such a, living the dream life? So anything else, Nora?
I think
Go ahead.
I think the person with a miserable life is he's doing something, whereas it's like somebody who has the financials in place, like what, and I don't have all the time they want. Like what are they're not, or we're made to produce, so they're not producing, or like,
Well, that's what I think. I think that we're made to produce. Like we're made to produce. If you're an airplane, you're made to fly. If you're flying, that's when you're happiest as an airplane. So we're made to produce. We're made to, I agree with you. And so when we're doing things that we're created to do, like I was created to be in business. Like that's what I was created to be. So I'm going to do that probably my whole life. And even though it sometimes sucks and like it's hard, and it's like, really? Like, you got to be kidding.
So what if your life is not perfect, or they're not going that great, but you choose to, like, I don't know, because I've had this thing where it's like, I feel like I'm in such a funk. And then it's like, Nora, what if you just like looked at your life like you're on a vacation? Like, you live in this like cute little house and this cute little town, and you just take it for granted.
Right.
Like, what if you just viewed your life as you're on vacation, and you get to work on your vacation? You get to, talk to people on vacation. You get to go on, walks through town, like whatever in this, like, what if you change your perspective on it? And yeah, you don't have everything figured out, but you choose to look at it in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's exactly right. I think like one of the things that the Baptists did, I think, well, is when you were in Sunday school, they'd show you the tapestry, so knitting or weaving, when you'd weave, and they'd show you the back of the tapestry, and it's a mess. It doesn't look, it's all messy. It's all gunky. And they go ahead and say, this is your life. It's like, well, that's kind of messy. That has no, and then they turn around and it's a beautiful tapestry. So on the back side of it, it's really messy, but on the front, it's just absolutely beautiful. Who's joined us?
Marlon Miller.
Marlon, how are you, buddy?
Good.
Good. Are you joining for the 4:00?
Yeah. Am I too late?
No, you're right on time. No, we're just about wrapping up. We've had such a fascinating conversation today. You would have absolutely, I think, enjoyed it. I don't know if you have ability to listen to the rebroadcast of it, but I think that you would thoroughly enjoy it. Is there anything you wanted to accomplish in today's podcast?
No, I would just want to listen and get tips.
Okay. All right. So we're just about wrapped up, I think, but I thought we were just about wrapped up like, 10 minutes ago, but it keeps getting better and better. So, so what we're talking about is living a life of significance, and how, like, business can be hard, family, marriage, everything can be hard. But if you're seeking to live a life of significance, and Nora just shared how she reframes how she's thinking about something, like, so the tapestry as a Baptist kid, you look at the back of a tapestry and it's all messy, and that's how your life is. But you get later on and you go and look at the front of the tapestry and you say it's beautiful. Some of the hardest things in life, that's the thing that we look back and say, those are the things that made me as a man or a woman, or as a mom or a dad, or as a child. And so I've said for years, if I'm going to laugh in 10 years. Why waste 10 years? Why not laugh now? The other thing that when I'm going through, really rough things, I go ahead and remind myself it's perspective. Like that's what Nora was saying. Change your perspective. Look at things in a different way. Because when you look at things in a different way, then you're going to have energy. If we don't have energy, we need energy to do things or discipline. So discipline might just go ahead and, get us through. And so, in perspective, it's interesting because somebody I was saying something. Oh, it was Luke's brother actually. So we were at a sing along or whatever that's called, and Luke's brother came up to me and he said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "It depends on how I look at things." And he came up later. He says, "That doesn't make any sense. Like that's kind of just weird." And I explained to him why I said that, and he says, "That's actually pretty very interesting. So it depends on how I look at things. So I can look at things and I can say, I feel like heaven on earth, I'm so blessed. Or I could look at things and say, I feel like I'm in hell, actually. Like it's really, really rough." But I've said for decades that my very worst day, and there's two or three that come to mind. Like they are really, really rough. 98, 97, 98%, 99% of the world would love to have my worst day. And so I think perspective helps us to go ahead. And many years ago, I was very depressed. I was not good. And I just started crying. And my wife was very concerned about it, like very concerned. She's like, we need to check you in the hospital. It doesn't seem like you're doing good. I said, no, it's fine. Just give me a timer. So she gave me one of those timers, 60-minute timers. I set the timer and I cried and cried for 60 minutes. The timer went off. And then I went ahead and got up, washed my face off and went to work. And she's like, "That's just weird. Like what?" I said, "I had 60 minutes to go ahead. And then I've got 7 kids that I need to put food on the table. I've got you and the kids, and I've got a bunch of employees. I can afford 60 minutes of depression. And then, after that, I just got to get back to work." And what's fascinating is that if we feel discouraged, we feel down, we feel disappointed, we feel hurt, we feel all kinds of feelings. When we're productive human beings, when we produce something, even if it doesn't work, we feel good about ourselves. So I agree with you, Luke. We're born to go ahead and to be producers. And when we're producing, that's when we feel the best, even if our lives are really rough. Anybody else have anything else? Okie dokie. If you have any questions on anything we covered today, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300 outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Hey.